Hey there, this is Dave with another quick look. This time it's a Delta Signs of Time fountain pen. I was having lunch with a friend of mine from a long time ago, a former colleague of mine. And this was last summer, and I mentioned that I was running a YouTube channel and that it was about fountain pens. And this friend and her partner went home and they bought themselves some fountain pens and started journaling. And I thought to myself, that is great. That's exactly what I want this channel to be doing and what I kind of my mission right now. And unfortunately, the pens that they wound up purchasing, I had no idea until a couple of weeks ago, were ball pens. That's Ball. And if you're watching this, you probably know Ball is not a company known for fountain pens. It's more of a calligraphy pen company. And that means dip pens, but apparently they do make a cartridge pen. Not a converter pen, but a cartridge one, at least the one that she showed me. And I thought to myself, there's no way any friend of mine is going to be doing some journaling with a crappy pen. So I wound up saying, hey, I am going to gift you some fountain pens. What color do you want? And she said, red. And her partner wanted red as well. And guess what? I didn't have any red fountain pens except for a Curados from Platinum, and I wasn't going to give him that. So I did some shopping, and I found I had some points still at Atlas Stationery, and they had this Delta Signs of Time, which I think is probably a mistranslation from Signs of the Time. A fountain pen, which is on Doorbuster right now. Normally, this is a $175 pen, and now it's going for $100. So I was like, this is a deal. And it is red, or at least in the red family. So I went ahead and ordered it. There were a couple others that I was looking at, but I wanted one that was a reputable brand that I have used the nib on before and could vouch for. Delta is one of those brands that I definitely think is a great brand. As you might be able to tell here, it was established in 1982, although it went out of business in, I think, 1997, and then was built up from the ashes, as a lot of Italian fountain pen companies were, in the early 2010s. In fact, this one was in 2010. And they've been going strong ever since. Unfortunately, there was some copyright issues or trademark issues or whatever that had happened in the meantime, and they couldn't get back all of their intellectual properties that they had. So they're creating some pens that are very similar to this one here, such as the Delta DV Original, which I have a video over here for you to see. And this one is the Mayora, which I haven't actually done a video on this one yet, but I'm planning on doing one soon. This pen here is on loan to me from Neil of Wasted Paper, and I'll put a link to him on the screen as well. He and I have been trading pens back and forth a little bit, so we have more experience with different models and different brands without having to shell out so much money, because really doing a YouTube channel does not pull in a whole lot of cash. I think I've made $200 so far in the last 13 months of doing videos, which totally does not, puts me way below the poverty level. But lovely pens, but this is nothing like this pen here. The Signs of Time, I'm going to have a difficulty saying that for the rest of this video. The Signs of Time pen is dedicated to different periods of art in human history. Now, what human history is to Delta is pretty narrow. They're talking about Western history. They're not including Japan or India or China in their world history. And it kind of makes sense that Rome, being in Italy, is the seat of Western civilization. So they kind of see things a little bit differently, kind of like Americans see themselves differently than the rest of the world. But we won't get into that, will we? This particular one is the classical period, which is the period that fits in towards the end of the Greek period and the beginning of the Roman era. There are a lot of other ones that go all the way down to cave painting. In fact, that's what it's called, cave painting pen. And then there's uh, all the way up into the modern history. So there's Cubism and Impressionism and Romance and I can't remember them all. There's 12 of them, I think. And if you wanted to purchase all 12, it would wind up costing you $1,200 or more. Let's go ahead and take a look at the classical period. So I really like the packaging. It is very simple. It's just cardboard with some printing on it, but it looks very elegant despite that. It has a nice aesthetic to it, and it's 100% recyclable materials. Just all of the cardboard. Sometimes you get like a cardboard case, and then there's a piece of foam glued to it, and I'm like, what? You almost had it there. And Delta, 100%. You could like pull the pen out and toss it into your recycling and be done. And then on the inside, there's this other box, and there's the pen, which we will set aside for a moment because I want to show you that there is a international warranty card here, which doesn't really have a whole lot on it, just that there's a claim that they have a lifetime warranty on it. Pretty nice. And that it's an international warranty. It doesn't tell you how to execute on your warranty, but you can figure that out. Probably just email them and find out. Then underneath that is a little catalog here, I guess you can call it. Signs of Time Delta catalog. And it has all of the different pens from this series. Like here is the Pittura Rapista. I'm not sure what that means. I'm sure it's in Italian, so I'm not sure. There is cave painting, which I mentioned before, and then the Classica, which is the one we're looking at here. But then there's like Rococo, Neoclassicism, Impressionism, Surrealism, pop art. I think pop art's the last one. So a lot of cool ones. If you don't like this aesthetic, there's another one out there that you probably do like. So have a look. All right, so let's have a look at the pen itself. Very nice design, very classical flat top design with a cap up here at the top. There's a clip with a roller ball and a band holding it onto the finial. At the top is, and I'm going to focus this for you, at the top of the finial is a medallion that is representative of the period that the pen is dedicated to. In this case, it is an iconic capital, which is the top part of a column. And this type of column was featured a lot in late Greek and early Roman architecture, like the Parthenon. Actually, I had to look this up because I'd forgotten which was iconic, which was Corinthian, and which was Doric. Interesting, I noticed for the first time, is that the iconic is a square shape, whereas the Doric and Corinthian are both round. And considering that the columns themselves are round, it's kind of strange that they would go with a square shape there. Just seems impractical to me. Then, as we mentioned before, there is a clip with a roller on it, and the cap comes off in one full turn exactly, and beneath that is a Jowo nib, which is on the newer side for Delta. They have been using Bach nibs for decades and have recently switched over to using Jowo nibs. It has the logo, Delta logo there. I can't quite get it into focus there. Right about there. As you can see, there's the Delta logo right below the breather hole, and it fills up with the ink that you're using. So you see the color of the ink that's in the pen without actually even having to write anything. That's kind of a neat feature that I don't think anybody else is doing quite as well as a Delta, although it's kind of a side effect of some other logos. I think Delta probably intentionally tried to make it work that way. At the opposite side of the pen is another band. This band is purely decorative, and this is not a blind cap. This is just also very decorative. It's not performing any function other than visual. And the reason for that is because this is a cartridge converter pen. And if we open it up here, you can see that there is a Delta branded Schmidt converter, which is international. I'm assuming it's Schmidt, international standard. And it is threaded, as you can see here. The nib is steel, and I believe that is a plastic feed. And the only branding on the pen is here it says Classico Art, which is the model, and then a serial number. In this case, it's 0155. Now, although it's number 155, they did not limit this. It is a special edition, meaning that they can keep producing more of them without having an upper limit. But this is 155. And then at the top here, it says Delta. And then underneath that, in very small engraved letters, Italy. Other than that, there's no other markings on the pen. I looked for serial numbers, and unless they're very microscopic, I couldn't find anything of the sort on this pen. The section is very comfortable. I had a chance to write with this pen doing a wet test. I wanted to make sure that it wrote properly for my friend and that they didn't have any issues when they received the pen. And the pen initially came with, or the nib initially came with sort of a hazy coating to the top, which I assume is from them doing a wet test in the factory. And all I had to do is brush it off, and it came out really brilliant, as you see it here. It writes very smooth, very nicely, and with just a touch of feedback. So I'd put it on the feedback scale at around a 5 or a 6, and then the smoothness is 6 or a 7. Very nice writer, no scratchiness. I tried the verticals, the horizontals, and diagonals in both directions, and there was only one direction that gave me even a hint of trouble, and it was just something that I would be looking for as a pen collector, and I wouldn't even tune it out. I would just live with it the way it was because it is so nice in all the other directions. I wouldn't want to take a chance of messing that up. I'm trying to fix it. Bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, or as my doctor used to say, perfection is the enemy of success. And so I think this pen is success defined. At $100, I think this is a real steal. And if you're looking for giving somebody a gift, like a graduate or something like that, this is a premium pen for that, with a storied Italian history and elegant feel and look to it, and a nice presentation and a reasonable price. There's no reason to spend any more money on that. I'm going to get into that a little bit more with some more approachable pens coming up here. I've been studying Stoicism for about 2 years now, and just coming across some things that are reminding me about what is most important in life, and maybe spending a lot of money on a fountain pen isn't one of those things. So we will be talking about those things. I feel like this falls into that category of one of those things where you can get a lot of benefit out of something without having to break the bank. If this colorway doesn't excite you, like I said, there are 11 others out there, and one of them probably will. If you have any comments about this pen, or any type of pen that you want to see in the future, please let me know. I am shedding off some of my pens that I don't need, I don't want, I would never use again, and I'm putting those like on eBay and so forth. So I'll have a little bit of capital to be purchasing other things down the road, hopefully. So put those down in the comments as well. I appreciate you watching, and Be well.